Well, we're back on the main line up near the big cut. And boy, it's been kind of a busy week here at the railroad. We always have a lot of projects going on, a lot of big projects that are continuing projects, and of course, a lot of small ones. We're going to kind of show you some of both in today's video and kind of bring you up to speed as to where we're at and what we're up to. One of the first things we did at the beginning of this week was to add top ballast and hand tamp the section of track you're looking at right now, which is heading north out of the big cut and down toward our big cornfield that comes up down on the left up here. It took about 8 hours with two guys to get this track up and get it leveled off prior to an event that we were going to be holding on Labor Day. And during that event, we had a lot of folks come out. I think we had over 150 people. A lot of train rides. I think we ran about 8 trains, and we also brought the trolley out for a couple of runs around the front loop. It was a beautiful day. The weather was great, and everybody had a good time. The trains were 2-car trains for part of the day. We made it to the top of the hill with fully loaded passenger cars. We had never done that before, and this gave us an opportunity to fill those cars up and see if we could actually make the grade at any kind of speed. Now, obviously, we were crawling pretty slow coming up the first part of that 3% grade. So we haven't really spent a lot of time talking about our structures, our buildings on the railroad. And behind me is our newest addition to our shop. We have 3 buildings here, or actually 4 buildings on this side of the road. We have a small shed, which was the first building that was built probably 3-4 years ago. We have our main shop here, and then we have a storage building with a lounge and bar on that side. This addition that you're looking at extends and doubles the length of our current shop, and it's wider, it's taller, and it's going to give us a lot of room to expand for our future building projects. As you can see, we've moved our fuel tanks behind the building here, so we've got our diesel and our gasoline supply. Off to the right of the shed, you can see a hole in the wall. That hole in the wall is a pass-through. There's going to be a railroad track coming through that shed. There's a kind of a lean-to there. And then on this end of it, we're thinking about adding a service pit, an underground service pit, which is why we left that open. So eventually, we're going to show all of you the inside of these buildings and kind of take you on a tour. We haven't done that yet. We're not quite ready to do it. But that is coming up in a future video, and so you'll have to look for that. Also this week, we've done a lot of cleanup in the shop. We've had pallets of parts in storage for the Plymouth locomotive project, which is a long-term project. Now we're moving all of that to a different building on a different site temporarily. And we've got some in our dump truck here. We're trying to take several loads out of there to make room in our shop. It's going to be, just a couple of weeks before we can start reorganizing that new addition that we put in. So we're trying to make some room. And this really helps a lot to give us more floor space and so forth. So here we've got our culvert project, which we did this week. Todd spent some time welding 2 short culvert sections together so that we could put a culvert in an area of our main line on the north side of the loop that's been problematic for water. We drive over it a lot. The crossing there is part of our service road that gets us all the way to the top of the hill. And so every time we drive through this particular area, whether it's wet or dry, it always seems to have some kind of moisture in it. So we're trying to raise this up to a point where it'll always be dry and So we're kind of trying to upgrade this service road here. The track is just underneath the camera, so we've got a grade crossing there and the kind of a steep approach to it. You put this 12-inch culvert in here, and we'll be able to raise that whole area up a little bit higher. We don't have all the fill we need here on this particular day, but we are planning on building this up pretty high, let the water shed off it, and we shouldn't have any more issues. And further up the line on the same service road on the north side of the property, we've got our little creek that crosses the road, and we have a situation where we're always dragging mud down into that water, so we had to try to fix that by adding some P-rock. And then here we've got stumps that have been moved from another part of the railroad. We're piling them up. We've got other branches and logs and other scrap wood that we're going to be burning at some point on the right side of the frame there. So we're trying to do some cleanup this week and get things looking a little bit better. So our primary focus this week has been to try to get the area where the switch is going to go prepared. This area is a little wider than most of our other right-of-way because we have to bring up the switch on a flat car, unload it, drag it into place, and then position it the way we want it. So we need this area to be a little bit wider so we can get equipment in. It does take 2 skid loaders to unload a switch and then maneuver it to where you want it to be. So you've got to have room for that, and we've tried to get that ready.
Well, one of the things that we've been working on this week at the Eau Galle Scenic Railway is getting the area ready for our switch at the top of the hill, where our upper loop will branch off. So right now I'm walking up to a spot where off to the camera's right, our track for the south part of the loop will be peeling off. Now, right where the camera is sitting is where the trailing end of the switch is. So behind me, you can see the track will go up and around to the left. So our loop starts right here. And we've been bringing up dirt from the big cut, on the back side of the big cut. We've got a lot of material we can bring in, a lot of really good gravel mixed with sand. And that's what's underneath me here. We've got to build this area up about 2 feet from where it is to match that grade. Now around the corner, we're going to have to bring that grade down about 1 foot. So this comes up and right around the corner goes down. And then as we get, and we're almost at the top of the hill here. So as we get closer to the top of the hill, it's just going to be a matter of some undulations here and there that we have to fix. Some small cuts, some small fills. And that should take care of the entire loop. Now, once we get to the south side off to my left, we have a pretty good size, what we think is going to be about a 3 or 4 foot cut. And so that's going to be the last of the big dirt moving challenges here on the railroad.
So it's been a long week here on the railroad. We've gotten a lot done. Always trying to prep the right-of-way ahead of time so we can keep our track crews busy on track laying day, which right now is usually Tuesdays. We have to build up this berm, get it done. We probably have that ready to go by Monday, and continue on with track laying. It's been a busy week, and I'm sure the coming weeks will be busy. We've only got another 3 weeks until the beginning of October. But we'll see you next time.